There's a few props that I feel like are a little bit obvious, and it makes me nervous. And, I mean, that was with Ben Wittenstein on last segment. Kristaps Porzingis under 15.5 points feels obvious. But, like we said when I talked to him, I just feel like it's something you have to bet. I really do. I just don't think you're going to get a lot from Porzingis in this first game. Now, over 1.5 threes, I do really like that as well. And that one doesn't scare me as much because you feel like he's going to be standing outside a little bit more, getting some opportunities, spot up. He's not going to be moving as well necessarily. Maybe not being able to get into a great rhythm, but spot up shooters like that can just get I think he's in a decent spot there to hit a couple of threes. But should I be worried? Is it too obvious to you? Under 15.5 points. It doesn't feel a little scary at all? It just feels too easy to me.
Yeah, I get that, and I know why you would say that, but I just feel like with Kristaps, and it is minus 128 to the over,
yeah.
And maybe they think he's just going to maybe hit a few threes, and it's easy for that to happen, or maybe he'll be in the dunker spot, and he'll get some easy twos. But the only thing I would ever play really is the under.
Right.
A player prop that I really like, and I think you can actually win this on both sides, truthfully. I think you should take Kyrie Irving under 23.5 points right away.
Yep.
In game ones, he has not hit that number the entire postseason. And on top of that, what we know is that Kyrie Irving is the fourth quarter machine. That's where he makes his living. So I would take the under 23.5 first and foremost. And then I would actually wait until midway through the game. And if Kyrie starts slow, maybe you can get a 17.5 or a 16.5 and take the over on Kyrie Irving's point prop. And then maybe you can win the under and the over, which I really like. I think Kyrie's only hit that number 3 times in his last 10. He had 9 against OKC, then 22, then 9, then 12, then 22. Then in game 1, actually he did hit it in game 1 once, which is game 1 against Minnesota. He had 30. Then 20, then 33, then 16, then 36. So he's heated up in the last series, but I still like Kyrie under points.
And also, too, against the Celtics, it's not like he puts up huge numbers either. He's gone under that number in 4 of his last 5 matchups against Boston. So it's not like he goes out. We like to have this conversation like he's going to go off and put up 35. And yeah. I really don't think that it matters to him like before. It's almost, in some ways, it feels like he's setting the game up for it to not be about that. You know what I mean? Where he's come out and said, I wasn't in a good place when I was in Boston. I'm really happy now. It's like, it's the guy that's talking about the relationship where he regrets the way he acted, and he's like, I'm all grown up and I'm married with 2 kids now, and things are a little bit different. That kind of feels like Kyrie. We've never watched him have these, I'm angry, I'm going after all these fans. I mean, we've seen him, flick them off and do that kind of stuff, but it doesn't have that feel of a monster Kyrie game. So I'm with you. I actually took the under when it was 24.5. And I put that in a parlay, too. I just think it's not going to be like a monster game for him.
And he hasn't ever gone over at the Garden either.
Yeah.
20 and 19. And we know that those fans are absolutely insane.
Yes, they are.
And they're going to be going crazy because the hate for Kyrie Irving is probably hate reserved for the LA Lakers.
Right.
Literally reserved for teams that they have legitimate rivalries for. I saw a person that had Kyrie Irving's name cut out of the jersey, and he was wearing the jersey, and it was just his skin with the number 11. So, yeah, they're going to be saying some nasty stuff, some vile stuff to Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
And I heard that, and I said, Eric Chiofalo, shout out. What a hot take. Honestly, he just dropped that bomb at the end of our show segment yesterday. And I thought to myself, well, if there's anything that's going to give Dak Prescott extra motivation, it's being in a contract year and knowing that he might just go out on the free agent market, which to me shows that that's a real bet that you should at least consider.
It also made us talk about him going to the
Titans.
The Titans. Yeah. I went from not even thinking about it to going, that's a great fit. A great fit. So, yeah, you got to think, the Cowboys are in such disarray right now with multiple guys that need to get paid. And I know that Jera loves the attention, and I know that he loves the drama, but that's a lot of guys that are going to be thinking about themselves. Now, one is Micah Parsons. He's on defense. It is what it is. But CeeDee Lamb's going to want the ball as much as he can, which is why I kind of actually like CeeDee Lamb to have a big season, because guys in contract years, as we know, that tends to be the case, unless they pay these guys right before training camp or something like that. But Dak is somebody to think about. What I'm concerned is Does this offense look even worse now with literally nobody to run the football? Like, we thought they had nobody to run the football last year. It feels even more disconcerting this year with what they've got going on.
Which to me leads me to believe that Dak has to throw a ton.
Sure, but at some point, teams are going to make it more difficult, and they're just not going to respect the run at all. Like, you got to have some run to set up the pass at all. And I just feel like they don't even have that at all right now, which is my only concern with it. But yes, he's going to have to throw the ball a lot. But also, what have we seen over the years with Dak Prescott? When he throws the ball a ton, they lose football games. They need the run to set up the pass to make him more comfortable, allow them to have some play action in there. That's when Dak Prescott is at his best. That's when he goes out there and throws for 4,000 yards. I mean, he probably will go over 4,150, but like, it might be a struggle this year, and there may be a lot more interceptions than we've seen in the past, too.
4,500 yards last year.
Yep.
4,500 yards in 2021.
Yeah.
Almost 5,000 yards in 2019. So I would not be shocked if Dak Prescott passes for 4,700 yards.
And if he went in at 46 or 4,700, that would put him. So the 47 would put him over Tua. Tua was 46.24. Jared Goff was 45.75, and then Dak was 45.16 last year, with Josh Allen way down at 43.06. C.J. Stroud being near the top is interesting. He threw for 4,100 yards last year. I think that offense is one of the best in terms of at least what you've got on paper in the NFL. Now, if you really think, could you imagine if Caleb Williams at 30-1 leads the NFL in passing yards? I don't think it would.
This team feels like they don't have the same mojo. Cubs to miss the playoffs, minus 174. Mm-hmm. And I think it's getting late early for Chicago.
I think they missed the playoffs this year.
I do too.
Yeah.
I like the Reds to make the playoffs. I like the Cubs to miss the playoffs.
The Cubs are just not hitting the ball well at all. That's a very lightly hitting team. They're 15th in runs scored. They went 10-18 in May. Bottom of the majors in runs.
Which is what they did last May too.
Yeah, like there's just not a lot there. Shota obviously is. Yeah, it wasn't a great start last time, but for the most part, right? I mean, he has been up there with Paul Skeens, we know, as a future ace, already an ace in some cases. But you look at the Cubs and there's just not enough offense that's there. The one thing I will say, though, the Reds need more Elly De La Cruz.
Yes.
He has really, really struggled recently. I mean, if you look at the way that his season started, where he's slashing 280, 391, 591, 982 OPS to the point now where his last 60 at-bats.
Oh, my God.
133, 224, 183 slash with 26 strikeouts. So we have watched an insane dip from Elly De La Cruz from the start of the season to where we are now. Again, he's played a total of 162 games. We know what he's capable of. He's still stealing bases, but he's going to have to get right at the plate. Lots of players, young and old, go through slumps at some point during a very long season. But for that Reds team to get to that next spot, we know how important he is, and I think that's going to be like a major factor for them. Elly De La Cruz starts to heat up. That's when you're going to see that plus 330 to make the playoffs shrink a little bit. So if you like it, yeah, you probably bet it now. But you're also then banking on De La Cruz to look a lot better at the plate.
Yeah, and you're looking at, a team like Chicago to fall off, which I think that they believe that they will, and St. Louis to kind of stay at least where they are, or maybe go back and revert to where they were early in the season. They're 5-5 in their last 10. Giants 3-7 in their last 10. They're a little bit of a dumpster fire in terms of in the wild card race. The Reds are in the best position right now in terms of how they've been doing recently.